Goodwin?
Yeah.
Okay, it's 10:50. We will call the Sawyer County Administration Committee meeting to order, please. And I apologize for our late start to Gary, Rose, Mike. Finance, try to keep finance rolling, but they had a lot on their agenda. A lot of good discussion. So with that, then, Madam Clerk, will have a roll call, please?
Reed Schuman,
Here.
Ron Buckles,
Here.
Dale Schluter, Tom Duffy, Ron Kinsley.
Excused you. Okay. Let the record indicate we have a quorum. Mr. Duffy is excused. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, certification of compliance with open meetings law, please.
This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statute.
Thank you. Meeting agenda has been presented. Okay, moving on to public comments. I have one request. Is there anybody online, Mike? So Mrs. Elmer, please step to the podium. Name, address, and
Liz Zoller, 902 Holland Hill Lane, virtually headquarters property owner. Earlier this morning, I sent members of this committee and zoning committee an email. And in part, it was to honor Bill Chrisman, who after 26 years of military service, started with the Sawyer County Zoning Department in 1994 and was the zoning administrator from 1998 through 2010. I found myself working with Bill and watching his career in zoning and how he led that department and what kind of leader he was. His obituary explains a little bit, but what I got to see was month after month, year after year, he tried to make things better. He did well in looking out for his employees and then to make sure that his zoning committee members were as informed and prepared as they should be. And yet, you know, independent of all his work, might have made a decision. He honored that was the process, and the zoning committee was the final decider. Since Bill left, I have just watched a constant deterioration of the services available through zoning. Part of it has been neglect, part of it has been lack of training or experience. And most recently, a lot of outside legal counsel just tearing down all the stuff that was built over Bill's career. I'm not the only one who's observed this, and my email spells out that between the discontent from the public, the increasing number of lawsuits, increasing legal fees, I think that's kind of evidence that things are not the way they used to be. I think Bill, if he had been here and been involved with MuniCode, the zoning committee and his department would have worked hard to make that transition to a code of ordinances. Right now, I do not believe that this MuniCode is ready to go before the county board for adoption. In the middle of the body of the ordinance, it says environment, natural resources, zoning, or something. If I'm misquoting, I'm not going to pull it up on my phone. Half of zoning is in the body and half of it is down in the appendix. The original version, everything was up within the code of ordinances. There's never been a discussion of this at the zoning committee meeting, and yet half that municipal code of ordinances is zoning. So right now, with things split apart, it makes it very difficult, I think, for the department and certainly for the public to follow. I understand that there's a timeline where updates in the entire code have been included, any of the ones, more recent ones from maybe this year have not been. But above and beyond, I think the zoning needs to be put together in a logical order. The county may have done that way originally, and in a just other matter for comments only, zoning administrator just said, I just don't want to have the zoning code in the code of ordinances. I think it's a very serious thing for the county, and more time than that needs to be put in that. So it's done right, because you're going to live with that for many years to come. Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else? Mike, online or anybody? All right, moving on to number 7, approval of our meeting minutes, October 13th, 2022. Got a motion, Mr. Kinsley, to approve as presented, second by Mr. Buckles. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, number 8, Erie Veteran Service Department report.
Okay.
Sir.
Good morning. So for October, we had 456 phone calls, 320 letters, faxes, and 110 office visits. Today, by the end of the month, I should say, we had 92 disability pension claims submitted for the year and received retroactive payment of over $540,000 for claims decided in the veterans' favor. My training is up to date, and we're very busy. A couple of things that I would like, you see this Campbell June ads on TV. I kind of want to get this just to get the word out. So they finally, conceded in a lawsuit that contaminated water had caused several different cancers and disabilities for veterans. About 3 weeks ago, the total amount of that law firms paid out in advertising was over $1 billion. So, and that is to sue the United States government, for these diseases or cancers. The thing that their veterans need to know is if they do sue the government, and I guess I talked about this before, but if they do sue the government, the government pays out, say they pay out $100,000 for an individual for one of these diseases. The government pays out, the government is not done with that veteran for that disease. So if I have veterans that are enrolled in VA healthcare, the government is paid out for this. And I cannot file a compensation plan for those people because the veterans already been paid out. Now the pitch to this, why they spent over $1 billion 3 weeks ago for all these law firms, is because they're charging 60 to 70% of the winnings. So if you get $100,000 to $70,000 right off the top, now you're sitting at $30,000. Now the federal government comes in and says, you know what, we're taxing this, and it's an extreme tax. And when you get done with that, you're sitting there looking at $10,000, $15,000. That's what you get for suing the government. Now, if they come to my office and the government has conceded that these cancers are due to the water contamination, I can get that veteran into healthcare where the VA said they will treat them for that disease. They will. That is huge. That surpasses $15,000, $10,000 really quick. On top of that, I will file for a compensation plan for them. And if it's 100%, you're looking at around $3,400 a month. They can go up from there depending on your amount of dependents. And I do that paid for off the salary of Sawyer County. I do not charge those veterans. It's already been charged in their taxes, and that's all I'm paid. So that word needs to get out. I can do better than the lawyers can when it comes to that claim or any of those claims, and I can do it for nothing. So I guess if you talk to somebody, please push them to their service office. Okay, every county's got one, 72 here, plus we got 7 TVSOs in the state of Wisconsin, so that can help them, assist them with these claims.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Gary, how do we put the word out?
Well, I have been talking to everybody that I can about it. I've got email. I guess I could put it in the paper, but you're asking for a little bit of trouble too on that. But that's why we have Wisconsin was the first state in the union to come up with service officers. They started this with Wisconsin. And we are here, every service office is here to take care of those veterans. the biggest thing is those services are paid for. So.
Thank you. Anything else for Gary? Yes.
No, you're just keep up good work. For sure. Oh, I do want to say thank you to the board. I got a sign put up last Friday out on the road. Even I drove by the doggone place going to work. So, I did, it was dark out and I drove by it and it's like, son of a. So, anyway, but so, yeah, we've got signage up there, it's helpful, I'm not no longer out there trying to wave people down on the highway.
Great.
And so, I appreciate.
Andy, can you pass it on to the committee of jurisdiction? Was that your committee, sir? Great.
To balance some of that perhaps, and I don't know if this is a good idea or not. Put an ad in the paper that you provide services for Sawyer County veterans. Just a small ad contradicting that. You don't have to say nothing about Camp Little Judah. Just a thought.
That's
Reinforcement.
Yep, I can do that, that's a great.
That is-
idea. I've never ran an ad before, but very sure.
Yeah, with your new location. too, that's great.
Just a thought.
Okay,
Separate from that, it's probably gonna be over the winter, but ADRC is gonna be moving down there in the next couple of weeks, they're moving the schedule. So we'll give them a little time to get up and running, and then we'll do the open house and stuff in the paper to
there you go.
announce that Gary's there, the ADRC are there.
Good.
Yeah, they actually did start moving in this week, so some of them are there and some of them are still coming. So I didn't have a lot of building up when I left today, so.
Thank you, Gary.
Dale, did you have anything for Gary?
You have to be careful what
Well, I think it's criminal what they're doing, that's my personal opinion. I think it's criminal, absolutely criminal. Yeah, yeah, but there really is, but you got a very good point, it's like, you got ambush stuff or whatever, I can cover this ag, you come here free of charge. So,
Oh, find someone better.
Carol.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you, Gary.
thank you.
Yep. All right, moving on to number 9 then. Information technology report. Mike?
Good morning. Got my reports here. I guess I don't have anything that needs attention unless there's any questions.
Anyone?
We've had
I guess I have a report that deals with that.
Yeah. Mike, what does rollout county email to all employees? What does that mean?
Oh, we decided that every employee is going to get an email. Up until now, we didn't get most of the part-timers, especially the highway or the highway staff email addresses.
Sure.
But it's a good idea to have email for any official county correspondence.
Sure.
So, most of those are rolled out, and then we'll let the highway and road guys know that they'll have to use their emails also later next week.
Yeah, there's a training out at the highway department, we're gonna, they already know what's coming, but then Mike's gonna set up some terminals out there so they can access to it.
Sure.
Oh, that'd be a good way to do it.
So down the road, there's gonna be more things, that our employees are gonna need that, you know. I'm sure we want to break it in, and then I think the other one was ambulance, not everybody have one. Correct. They're definitely selling some things that they should have, business time.
So there'll be a server at each highway department.
That's the plan, to get at least a tablet or a
So,
computer that.
thank you.
Great. Anything else for Mike? Oh, if not,
That's
that's
right.
all you do, Mike. Yep.
He always
I agree with
contributes in the second room all the time too. Does a great job.
Yeah. Helping sustain our contingency fund, right?
Yeah.
All right, number 10, human resource report. Rose?
Do you need to be a part of that graphic discussion?
I would like to. Oh, thank you.
Let her go.
All right.
Might get back over there.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, we got Andy trained right in, Mike.
He's doing great.
Go ahead, Rose.
Good morning. I submitted my report. I don't have anything to add unless you guys have questions.
So there's not a lot of turnover roles within the road deputies of the sheriff's department?
No.
Has it been for years?
I think there's some retirements, some coming and going, but nothing,
Nothing major?
no.
Nobody's going to a neighboring county because they didn't pay more?
We had one leave and go to the DNR. And then other than that, I'm not doing it.
Does anybody have any questions for Rose or?
I kind of summarized last meeting, what you've been trying out through exit interviews.
Yeah.
It might feel like you're savings wages, but most often it's protective class for probation parole and.
Well, that's to the jail staff, yes,
Jail.
feel like that. There's a variety of reasons why people are leaving, some are leaving for less money.
Yeah,
You know, we had one person in a very stressful job, just burned out, she's a young person and doesn't want to do it anymore.
sure.
You know, some people are disgruntled when they leave, but I would say the majority of them aren't. You know, they don't come in and say, I'm quitting because I have the worst manager in the world or anything like that. There's not like a common theme. There's just a variety of reasons people are making changes. You know, we are making headway in the jail. We did bring on a full-time person and we're bringing on a part-time person. We still need female.
Where we at with the other female inmates gone?
There's still, we don't have. We have one employee who had been on, I believe is kind of a female, to work a couple shifts a week. And we have the potential for an employee who left a female to come back. But she was asking a question the other day, she's gonna make a decision.
On the side note,
Okay,
didn't
Yeah.
Mr. Rotek say yesterday that Rick Chambers passed away?
Yes.
okay. All right, thank you, Rose. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yep, all right, number 11. Andy, Municode update, discussion, possible action,
Yes.
it says final,
Well,
adopted Municode ordinance.
I'm gonna refer this as the Unicode saga. So we're trying to get this thing to the point where we can get it adopted and have it established as our code of ordinances, and then as new ordinances come in, they get approved by the board, the Unicode updates those as part of our Unicode contract. So what you have in the packet is the final version that they put together. It's been the last couple of agendas. And let me just pull up my notes. So it was pointed out, actually. Pointed out to me when she looked at it that she thought some things were missing, so back through it again and found out that it did determine that there were some ordinances that were passed in the last, say, 18 months, back in the June of 21, that were not included in the Unicode. And so we're talking to Unicode about how to handle those. His last suggestion, it wasn't just zoning, there were non-zoning ones as well that are not included. So he, as of Friday, he was suggesting postpone presenting this to the committee. They're gonna clear the code this week to republish it. They provide us a resolution that gets adopted to adopt the code of ordinances. They provided this one, he's gonna provide a new resolution. So that way we can adopt the code as it is here. Any resolution or any ordinances that are not included would still be eligible. And they will publish those in the first supplement to the overall code.
Okay,
And
yeah, let's.
historically, we knew those were not in there yet, but at that time when we had first, I came in when they were just starting to send that to Roger for Unicode, and he was gonna work on what we had at that time, and so I had saved a file of anything that had been passed since I started to send to them once it got adopted, because we hadn't even figured out how the process was gonna work. And that's why they wanted to.
Yeah, so that's why he's got a new resolution that will we adopt this code, it will not negate anything else that's been adopted. We'll leave those still eligible to enforce. Then they will publish those as part of the media code in the supplement. What publishing means is that when we adopt an ordinance, they take it and then they number it correctly, they insert it into the code in the appropriate location. So that addresses what's not in the code that's already been adopted by the board. Part two, what I want to bring up again, is relates to the public comment. I've heard these comments. So right now, the final version that you have, with I shouldn't say the final version, it's labeled as final because that's the final version that we put as public put out. Has the zoning ordinances, the primary general zoning ordinance, and not all of them, but the general and I think shoreline are in as an appendix. They're just listed as an appendix. Here's the code as it's laid out. It's not numbered as part of the overall code of ordinances. My understanding, I started is that it had been in the code and it was pulled out, put in the appendix, because this is the reasoning I heard is that that would require the zoning office to renumber and redo all their forms and their procedures, and that's gonna take a lot of work. So I asked, Roger, I mean, at some point, it really needs to be a part of the overall code. It should just be implemented that way. All the numbers work with each other. I understand it takes some time, but it might be something where we need to say, it's in the appendix, it's in the code, here it is. 6 months from now, zoning, give zoning 6 months or a year, whatever it takes for them to get their everything updated for it to be a part of the code. And he suggests that the simplest thing to do would be for the county to adopt an ordinance redesignating subdivisions that specify portions of the code at that time. When the supplement service will add an ordinance as appropriate to the code, whenever we want that to be effective. And then we zoning code and the appendix in the ordinance. I think that's the zoning committee decision or county board, but it is, I think, unusual to have those ordinances just as an appendix that's listed there. It really should just be
Well,
at some point.
the zoning committee oversees zoning. So they're the ones that should make that decision, zoning, I believe.
Okay.
And then maybe send it on to the county board for approval, but that's where it should start. Is in the zoning committee, because they oversee zoning. So,
Yeah, because there are some zoning ordinances that are already in the code,
yes,
but some are in the appendix, so.
yeah, because I was up there when Linda, you and I and Linda were looking at them, I seen them, yes. So, but I believe it should come through the zoning committee first to see what they say.
So probably the main thing is with all this we're talking about, and what the media code is proposing is that all the ordinances will still be enforceable through the zoning process. We're not gonna have everything hanging out there, but
Yeah.
it's not ready to go to the county board next week.
Easier to reference and go to and more efficient.
Yeah, it will be very nice once this is all done, because it'll be online, be searchable, easy to pull up, all in one spot.
And there's a lot of edits, Lynn, I'm sure you're aware, on the officials page here, right?
We made those edits, they just don't have,
Got it.
because that,
Mhm.
their draft community code is effective was supposed to be effective as of December of last year. And that's the officials that were in place.
Got it.
That's fine.
Okay, do we need any, then we're gonna not move this on. We'll probably add it as a future agenda item. Lynn, okay, for
You bet.
next month?
It's gonna get on zoning,
Zoning, yep,
zoning and administrative. I would say.
sorry. Good point, Ron, for next month. All right. Everybody okay with that, Dale? Okay. All right, move on then to number 12. Discussion on employee benefits and compensation discussion. Consider implementing PTO or paid time off.
So this is gonna be a discussion only this month, just wanna keep this in front of you. So I have proposed, starting with the department heads, for us to move, right now we have a vacation sick leave policy where you have so much vacation that you accrue. Just as an example, if you're a 37.5 hour a week employee, you accrue vacation. If you're 0 to 5 years tenure, you accrue 3.5 hours per payroll. You accrue 1 day a month of sick time. You're also allocated one floating holiday a year. And you are allocated up to 24 hours of bereavement in a year. And so probably list on the screen, try to get there. So just put this together and present it to the department heads to get their input. When I put it in front of you and see what your thoughts are, and then from there I would go to the rest of the employees and see what interest there is in switching to PTO. But PTO would be paid time off instead of having vacation, sick, holiday, and floating holiday and bereavement. It would all be one. So you
And I know there's a lot of places that are going to PTO,
Yep.
so they're all in one. You don't have sick time, you don't have leave time and vacation. It all goes in one.
All goes in one.
Yeah.
And from a accrual standpoint, right now, if you're a 37.5 hour weekend employee in Nevada, and I'm just gonna use the 0 to 5 year tenure employees as an example. On an annual basis, you could accrue up to 212.5 hours a year. You never use any of your time. That includes your vacation, sick, the holiday day, and the bereavement. What I put together, the PTO, you accrue 7.5 hours, 7.25 hours per payroll. And your total accrual of the year would be 188. So you would give up about 3 days that you're currently, if you use all of your time, you lose about 3 days. Depending on how you look at your time, I pulled the employees. I think it's probably true of most employers. You have some people that use every day you give them, whether they're sick or not. They probably lied to us and tell us that they're sick and they're not fishing.
Yeah.
They would do.
Or, you know, their grandmother dies every year, and they take a bereavement day.
A lot of ground.
And then you got other people who hardly take any time and are always giving you time back in the bank. So I don't think it changes that. It just allows people to have a little more flexibility.
What kind of feedback have you got yet from the department heads? Any or not yet?
Department heads were very agreeable to it. The number one question was about their banks.
Mhm.
Like right now, we allow them to accrue. Figure on sick leave only, you can accrue in bank. If you're hired before January 1st, 2015, 110 days. And after January 1, you can accrue to 90 days. So they want to know if they're going to lose that time. That's not the intent. If they already have a bank of sick leave, that bank just moves over, and then now you, instead of accruing sick leave, you allocate PTO. Could go into your long-term bank. If you're already capped, if you already have all that, you're not going to get any more time. So it does not increase our liabilities, because we pay that out when they retire. So we're not going to let them accrue anymore. They would be able to put more time in the bank on an annual basis, because they're going to have, it'll just be all the PTO time. The way it would convert is like your sick leave that you already have in the bank would become your long-term bank for PTO. And your vacation time currently that you have on the books would roll over like it does now. Because right now you can have on hand your anniversary date, 1 year's accrual plus 5 days. And then you continue to accrue. So you leave that the same as well, that would be applicable to your PTO time. So those are the main questions that one employee is like, am I going to lose my bank? Because if I'm going to retire today rather than.
Sure. What if someone switched departments within the courthouse? You keep your bank?
You keep your, you're
Yeah.
credited, you switch now, you're credited for your time served and you keep your bank.
Okay.
And only proposing this right now to, I should say, make it easier saying, this would not apply to our 24-hour employees, like the sheriff's department and the ambulance. Because when those people, it's a little, we want to keep better reins on that, I think. One, because we have a union contract that specifies it. But if somebody takes PTO there or vacation day, we have to replace them.
Yeah.
We have to replace the individual.
Right. Ron,
Dale, I'm trying to remember, we went through this before. And we hired one employee out at the highway shop. The first one, we went PTO. I'm wondering if Rose was involved in that. And then we sat on it, and then we finally just dropped it. But I can't remember.
It was, fiasco.
Yeah.
Everybody said, don't ever, no, we're gonna do this again. Yeah, you correctly, so why? That, it was really available. Nobody wanted, staff, employees. He said, no good for anybody.
They didn't like the PTO system.
No.
And I can't tell you why at this point in time, those might be able to.
Maybe they don't understand that.
And that's what I was wondering, what kind of feedback you got from, because, and it's been approximately 5-6 years ago, approximately, when we did that. Maybe longer.
Longer,
Was it before we had Tom for administrator?
yes,
Okay,
and most of you was our human resources person,
Larson,
yeah, Carol,
Carol Larson.
no,
No,
uh,
what was her, Larson that?
Okay, so when are you gonna bring this to us
I
for,
know.
I'll get back next month.
okay,
If I hear any major objections here, I'd probably stop. My next is introduce the other, the rest of the employees. get their
yeah, let's
feedback.
see what they think.
I would say just one comment, like, it's. I mean, they were worried about having less time, but really they're losing 3 days, which depending on how you look at it. If you use your bereavement or all your sick leave, you're gonna. You'd be concerned about that, but really it's pretty generous. But your leave for vacation and sick is already pretty generous. I mean, it's not online, but it is on
Yeah.
that's one, it's like it's a non-wage benefit to the employees to have a little bit flexibility with their time off. I guess on the segue, Mr. Kinsley asked me about, I think it was closing early on Fridays and adjusting hours, because there are some counties, Chippewa and Price, that have closed down, closing it. I'm not sure if it was seasonal or year-round, they're closing at least part of the year on Fridays at noon. So I did have that discussion at the department as the summer when that conversation was happening, and I hesitant to recommend that or go in that direction, because I think Sawyer County has a decent amount of business on Friday afternoons, because we do have so many non-resident property owners that might be here to visit land conservation or zoning. And our court. is generally
Here,
pretty-
taxes, yep.
Yeah, the courts are pretty busy because we only have one court, so it does tend to run a lot on Fridays. So what we did instead is looked at, and this was already in the personnel manual, is just more flexible scheduling within departments to. We're open 8 to 4 here. Every department, unless there's really extenuating circumstances, should be open 8 to 4. There's somebody there to serve the public and answer questions. I mean, maybe. The clerk and treasurer, maybe somebody's not there to make kind of marriage license, but there's somebody there to schedule an appointment with that person. To get their marriage license or to pick it up. And then we have provision where you can work with employees to start their workday between 7 and 9 and end it between, I think it's 3:30, 5:30 or something like that. As long as the office is open and staffed, I really am not concerned. They can schedule their employees to get their hours in. Otherwise, I mean, you come in the buildings on Fridays, there's offices that are pretty quiet because people already have their 37 after 40 hours in. But at least the office is open. Department's open.
And you cover lunch hours too?
Yep.
Staggered, good. Ron? You good?
Yeah.
Okay, good, we'll bring this back.
Okay.
Lynn, sounds good. All right, moving on to 13. Union contract negotiations and wages. Entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Should we do that at the end like we did in finance?
We can do that.
Let's do that.
Sure.
If that's acceptable.
Yes, it is. I saw that coming too. All right, 14, 2023 budget updates.
I put that, I asked Lynn to put that on every agenda that.
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah.
Fee schedule, in case anybody had any questions or.
Yep.
Other changes to it. A lot of the changes in there were just hadn't been updated. From that department in quite a while. I think. Lynn adjusted some of her election.
MOU fees.
There were no few, others were previously adopted that hadn't been updated. I don't think other departments. Don't really have in there from.
Just know that your dog license is going to $10.
Yep. What about the water testing within Health and Human Services?
I have to
that-
ask about that.
Yeah, but are we? That's moved around a little bit, hasn't it? I mean, they came up with different ideas.
Well, we increased some costs that were really too low.
Yep.
That's some loan and it decreased others. There was a good conversation and it just wasn't throw a dart and it goes up, down. There's a lot behind it. Partly because I knew we used to charge and we don't even charging that much anymore.
Works two ways. I respect to move it up, but at the same time, let's keep it reasonable enough so there's not a problem getting it done.
I
Okay,
believe
the-
it's, Ron, I think that's what we accomplished. It's fair.
Any comments, concerns? Okay. Where are we, this is within the budget, so we'll approve it with the budget.
Yes, for the documents.
Got it. All right, county administrators report, sir.
A lot of it you get to see when we go through these meetings, we are looking at benefits. We already have health insurance, settled and the dental vision. Just looking at the list of things that we can offer the employees, have some of that next month's meeting. We are just, I'll use this as an example, that through our insurer, we can offer pet insurance. It's entirely employee paid, but it's something an employer has to offer. So, we're looking at trying to be creative with the things that would make that benefit package just a little more creative. Some wellness incentives in there as well, so we'll have that, with that. With those things, working on some office moves related to Justice Point. We are wrapping up the grant, we get the full funding from the state, treatment court and conversion program, for $300,000, which will increase their staff, which means we need more office space for them. So I think I've got everybody supporting and move, or put Justice Point down where child support is, consolidate child support, around the first of the year. In the course of looking at space, there's important out that a lot of departments have, and Lynn's working a lot of this area, record management. We've got a lot of records and storage, boxes, papers that don't necessarily, we don't need to have some of that stuff. So they've been communicating with the historical society, and those other things can convert it to digital. So the barrier there, staff time and just the capability to do it. So looking at how we can accomplish getting some of those things digitized, which will reduce our space needs, and then make things more available for virtual to electronic means. And then safety and training is kind of the other topic that goes along with wellness. So those are kind of the things that can work on. I think I had a very good headline last meeting. We'll have to discuss this later. But we are going to be getting, already got half of it, $722,000 through the local area and travel consistency fund. So during the passage, I'm not sure if it was ARPA or the bipartisan infrastructure bill, they funded a program that has, I think, perpetually been unfunded or underfunded at the federal level. Right now, we get a very small payment in lieu of taxes for federal lands. So they put it's all based on how much payment you get for that.
We're gonna get that.
So some counties are getting, it's a minimum of 50 on up to, I think it's large, like out west, they're getting 6 million. But because of our federal lands here, we're gonna get $722,463. So we had to, just like we did with ARPA, we had to apply by the end of this year. So we already applied, we already have 377,000 that's already come in, set in the fund. Didn't want to confuse with any budget discussions, because this is essentially right now a one-time payment.
All right,
One-time allocation. I think LCO should be doing something.
we did. Yep.
There's not much for restraints attached to it. You can use that as general revenue. So I do have
Just your governing body can allocate it.
Well, we can, but it'd be nice to use it for the wages, but we can't.
Right.
Right, one-time funding. Okay,
So we'll have
well, that's good
discussion on
news,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's, plus we have our opioid money.
Yeah, the opioid money, and
Yeah.
CJCC is talking about that, and they, at this week's meeting, really, Tude was there, they really want, I think they're gonna make the presentation that, well, I don't. They want the county to buy it, just like a house, to have a place where people who are recovering or need treatment can.
Well, I think the county probably owns a few houses. They just remodel one.
Yeah, right.
I'm a little,
And they said there's money within probation to pay for housing.
yeah, so that's where we're gonna continue that conversation with probation for all. I'm a little leery of being involved in real estate for that purpose.
Yeah. Well, how about what's the other house we have? That's.
Transitions.
Yeah, transitions.
That we've got people staying there and now
Yeah.
doing the services.
Sure.
Yeah, we do have we have got two allocations of opioid funds, so I think it's probably about $50,000
Okay.
in the account for that. Good. And other than that, I've been working at reaching out into economic development a little bit more with Kate and Monica from the Duane Corporation. I've met a couple of times and they put in a proposal to the Northwood Technical College for the housing development that they're getting funded for. But there's been a fair amount of discussion, some of you, about housing and getting involved in that a little bit, and did follow up on the property west of town and working on that as well.
Any headway yet? Any
No.
movement? No.
We're gonna need some legislative help and we need to wait for the legislators to resume their states to help us get some conversation.
That's something we should stay really on.
Well, I mean, the first reaction was, we're not gonna sell it. We need it.
But they haven't used it in 10, 15.
Oh, I know what
20
you're talking about, guys.
Like,
Dale,
The nursery.
It's in our nursery.
the nursery, yeah.
Right.
Okay. I guess that's, anything else? You guys got questions for Andy or?
I would just make one comment that every meeting I go to, I'm amazed with how much Andy gets done. And I really appreciate that. Every meeting you see that we don't have to say, well, I didn't get to that yet. He just somehow gets it done. Thank you.
Well, I've been pleasantly surprised with that. I'll tell you what, because we had a great one Friday. Okay, anything, Dale or Ron or Andy, anything more? All right, and then I think, Lynn, you've got some future agenda items for us, right? All right, yeah, I think it's time we move to number 13, union contract negotiations and wages.
You start reading that one.
Pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public property, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. In addition, the committee will be discussing collective bargaining strategy and thus is excluded from open session requirements under statute 19.82 subparagraph 1. Motion by Mr. Kinsley, second by Mr. Buckhold. And the roll call vote. Correct? Madam Clerk, or no?
You get to puncher.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, what? Yep, 1 second.
Don't you be pushing the red one.
I gotta get into the Zoom. Whoops, I'm a little slow getting into Zoom.
Right?
Share screen. Oh, good.
I think it's gonna be.
Oh,
really
now I
good
know.
county board.
I got a better idea how you vote, Buckles.
Okay, you are free to vote.
Go.
Oh, well, you know what? I pulled the wrong one. Can I cancel that?
Yeah.
I was still in the other meeting. Sorry.
Okay.
I've got too many meetings going on here.
Well, you got us. You got us in there though, kiddo.
Get you in the right screen. Come on. Why isn't my Zoom opening up, Andy?
You're sharing emails right now.
Yeah, I know. I can't get into. Oh, stop sharing that one. Oh, stop sharing and choose a different screen. That's what it is. Yeah.
Jam the system.
Damn it.
Yeah. Too many abstentions.
Gotta close that one and get the other one. Why are you not going out? Sorry, I'm new to this one too. My training hasn't started.
That's all right.
Oh, I have to close this one. Sorry, that's why. Okay.
Thank you. Are we gonna try to use these next week or no?
And let's make sure I get the right participants. I've got Ron, Tweedy, Dale, Ron. Okay, and that's the right participants. So now I'm on the roll. It keeps, oh yeah, I see what it is. You're good. You're good. I had it right before. I just had time on here because it was supposed to be.
So we vote, okay,
We vote?
Yep, you can
unanimous.
vote.
Or
We did vote, right?
not, we did. That's
Except, there we go. Yes.
whatever.
Got it?
Okay,
All right.
we're good. Thanks for your patience.
11:35.
5.
We all
Well-
heard, we all heard it last month, last meeting.
We did.
Clickers and I'll collect them. Thank you for your patience.
So, thank you all. As soon as Ron opens that. There's nobody in the hall, open this.
No action was taken.
You got that, Lynn? Okay, we're adjourned, everyone. Thank you so much. Appreciate the input.